Why do we as humans long for chaos and destruction? But when it finally arrives, we want it gone. I think that's just human nature. I think that's just an innate flaw in human nature. We're just too primitive to really live. We want pleasure, so we work on something. And when we achieve that thing, we get that pleasure. But after a while, we get used to that pleasure. So we get bored, we need more pleasure. Because we're at the top, there's no more pleasure to get. So the only thing we can do is, get off the pleasure and then get back to it after a while. But since we can't do that consciously, we sabotage ourselves, so we lose everything. We become lethargic and depressed. So we lose all our progress, and then we repeat the process. And I think the most popular part of us right now is the part where we reach bottom and then pull ourselves up again, where we once again rise like a phoenix and repeat the process. But still, this shit sucks. It's just like this Taoist concept of dualities, yin and yang. Yin, the black, the female, yang, the white, the order. This is yin, this is chaos. This is a destroyed toilet with my shit inside of it, which I tried to flush at 2 a.m. and then this fucking thing broke apart. I don't know why. The normal toilet would be the yang toilet. Yeah, I mean short and long define one another. Is there evil without good? Or is there good without evil? No. How do you know beauty without ugliness? But what would life be like if it didn't have these things? What if there was nothing negative about life? What if there was no beauty, no ugliness, no pain? It would just be incredibly boring. The truth is, we need this stuff to make life fun. That's why we worship it in media. We like characters who struggle and then achieve big things. But at the same time, we've become so comfortable in our own lives that the only thing we really care about right now is what other people think about us. But that's mainly because we don't really have any actual real troubles left. If we had to fight for our lives on a daily basis, we wouldn't care about those things. Yet now we do. It's like in kindergarten when you have no responsibilities. So when you enter the social life there, you suddenly care what your classmates think about you. But now you don't. Yeah. So then we worship characters like Walter White, who have ordinary, boring lives and then suddenly, get thrusted into chaos with the cancer diagnosis and all that. And then they suddenly have to fight for their lives. They get into progressively, more danger, more chaos, and they feel more alive. They feel happier. That's the truth. If our life is in danger, we feel happy, we feel energized, we feel alive. It's like in Fight Club, in that scene where they nearly crash a car. That's a near-life experience. You only really feel alive when your life is on the line. But that also creates a cycle. And how do you combine faith with that? I mean, faith. The thing about confidence is that, confidence can't be negatively reinforced. If you do well, you become more confident, but if you fail, you lose that confidence. And then when you lose it, you tend to fail again, and that's an endless cycle of failure, and suddenly you have no more confidence till you don't care anymore, and then you suddenly succeed. When you care because you succeeded and you don't want to lose the power you've gained, and it repeats. But with faith you, if you succeed, then that's God helping you, that's God rewarding you. But if you fail, that's God punishing you. So in both cases, his existence is being reinforced. And that means that if you're deep enough into a rabbit hole, that means that if God does stuff like, well, kill you or take off your legs or blind you, then that's either God just testing you or just taking you to heaven because he loves you so much. And that is kind of a comfortable thought. At the same time, kind of sucks if it isn't true, which could be, very likely. I mean, just look at the God in the Bible even. He at one point says, it's like Exodus 20, you must only worship me, worship no other idols, worship no other gods. But the thing is, he also says that he says this because he's a jealous God. What does that fucking mean? Why is he a jealous God? Well, either that means that there are actually other gods, possibly gods which don't build shitty worlds like this with these toilets, or that because he's a god and he doesn't fear anything, he, just like us humans, cares what other people think about him. So he actually becomes jealous when he isn't worshipped. That's his biggest problem in life. So either he's evil or he's fucking stupid, which sucks. And if he's just good, then he's kind of doing a bad job. I mean, I get the point of having to have evil in this world in order to have good in this world, but I don't know. I guess that's the curse of free will. What do we do with that free will? Do we just submit to God? To his endless cycle? Maybe. But I don't want that. But I don't want to worship suffering either. Because worshipping suffering also sucks. That's like Sisyphus. That's pretty much Guts from Berserk. This kind of power fantasy where you see your hero suffering a lot, so suddenly you can do it. But that shit sucks. When you worship suffering, you tend to just want to attract it. Not in this kind of manifestation sense shit. No, you actually become emotionally attached to it. That means that you kind of sabotage yourself because after a while you get nostalgia for the feeling of suffering and having to fix shit again. So you start sabotaging yourself subconsciously. That's also a phenomenon when it comes to, well, missing a parent, where you sabotage yourself just so somebody else can swoop in and save you because you want to be, well, it's kind of like this inner instinct of us, which wants some kind of greater being or parent to save us. But what if there is no God to save us and no parent to save us? What if this is just us living our lives like this because we're trapped in this culture? Think about it. We do self-improvement shit where we see ourselves as heroes in this kind of three-act structure, hero's journey type story, where we constantly try to improve and face challenges. But the truth is, by romanticizing this stuff so much, we actually create resistance because we idolize the suffering of not jerking off every day. We suddenly turn it into a challenge, even though it's not that hard. Yeah, so that's not the solution. If you do that shit, you'll just waste energy on an endless cycle. The only way to break it is to accept it. To accept that this world is that shitty and that by default, human existence will involve just cycling through its emotions. And then, from that point on, then you get to decide what you do with your life and how you want to live it. Yeah. And you also shouldn't comfort yourself with the fact that you might go to heaven, or there might be an afterlife. What if there isn't? What if you aren't really sure? What the problem with turning the other cheek as well, with not fighting back against those who hurt you, is that well, if you pride yourself on being some kind of Christian who doesn't hurt other people, then how exactly is turning the other cheek and then relishing in the fact that those people who have hurt you will probably go to hell better than just punching them in the moment? Really isn't. Or how exactly is, well, in your last moments, making peace with an enemy so much better than having a loved one which you, well, suddenly hate in the last 5 minutes of your life? There isn't really a big difference, but we are culturally kind of incentivized to prefer one over the other. Yeah, this shit sucks. Also, and this shit sucks. As I already said, my shit is in there. I was about to flush it. So either way, I fucking refuse. I don't want this shit anymore. I don't want these fucking emotions. I don't want this fucking trouble. I think the solution might be to see the beauty in this. To witness the absolute destruction of this toilet. And then imagine a pristine toilet in a perfect form. Yet, when you have a pristine toilet, you must also see this destroyed form. And then once you see, well, both parts of the puzzle, both yin and yang, then you get inner peace. Yeah. Still, did I say this? I mean, this is my fucking week off. Last time I had a week off, the fucking shower leaked water into our ceiling and we had to rip it out. So why does this always happen? If it's God, then God, come on, fuck off. If it's causality, then also fuck off. I don't know, fuck off causality. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna go sleep now. Still, that faith part, I'm gonna look into that. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna convince myself of some kind of imaginary faith where I maintain control of that faith, but I still make myself schizo enough to basically use the power of faith to have absolute super confidence in my actions. Probably gonna buy a bayonet for Amazon and then wear that, pretend I'm Griffith. Fuck. Yeah. You're right. I'm gonna go sleep now. Good night.